Hey, thanks for checking out Press Pause with Vig Villain. I'm Jeff. The villain injured himself. He broke his clavicle crocheting a scarf for the coming winter season. Now, I know when he's here, normally this channel is all about uncovering the secret society of dogs attempting to poison our water supplies. However, today I want to talk about video game news. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, coming from two European outlets, VGC and Eurogamer, the rumor is that the Nintendo Switch 2 was demoed for some publishers and developers. Now, this was Target Hardware showing off Breath of the Wild. Yes, Breath of the Wild, not Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild running at 4K 60 with DLSS 3.5, allegedly. It also showed the Matrix UE5 demo that we'd previously seen on Xbox Series XS and PS5 from Epic. Now, this is pretty interesting, the fact that Nintendo's targeting this. I think there's obviously a few reasons and benefits they would want to be able to run this stuff. They're not releasing this hybrid console, in 2017 anymore, right? It's 2024 when this thing likely drops, and they're going to be competing with not only things like the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally, but we've got the Lenovo Legion Go coming, and Neo still out there. I think we're going to see a lot more competitors. Obviously, PlayStation has the Portal, which I still think is terrible. But the point is, there's a lot more handhelds available out there. There's cloud. We see Netflix and Amazon moving into the game spacing. We see Netflix and Amazon moving into game spaces with apps across PC and iOS and Android device. Trailing off, my thoughts are wandering. So it's a much more competitive landscape to release the Switch 2. Or Super Switch, or the old Switcheroo, whatever they end up going with. And so I think it would behoove Nintendo to have a lot more third-party support and make it easier for some of these third parties to move over with existing titles, get them ported over to this system that's coming out essentially mid-gen, right? Part of them leapfrogging generations means they are going to get a lot of ports, hopefully, for them to stand up. And I do think if you're a lot of these other companies, you don't want to miss the Switch successor. If it sells even half as well as the Switch has, it's going to be something you don't want to miss. And I think obviously if you're like Nvidia with DLSS or you're Epic with Unreal Engine 5, you don't want to see a world in which Switch 2 is just as popular as the initial Switch, and developers can't utilize your tool sets for the games they make on that platform. It's going to cut you out of a lot of developments for people that wanted to multi-plat and make sure they don't miss out on Nintendo's audience. So I think it's kind of in everybody's best interest, whether you're Epic, Nvidia, whether you're Nintendo, to make sure this system supports as many tool sets as possible and has the ability to get as many third-party games and devs on board with this. So pretty cool stuff there. I'm getting pretty excited for the Switch 2. I know if you watch this channel, I've been a bit tepid on like the PC handhelds we've seen, like the Steam Deck and the Go, but I really did like the Switch. And even now that I'm playing less and less handheld, I still think one thing Nintendo did very well with it was battery life. Head and shoulders above everybody else for battery life. Obviously, it was a less powerful system. So I'm very curious to see what kind of battery they can hit on the Switch 2. Jumping up that kind of power. Now, I don't think the screen is going to be 4K handheld. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to hit 1080, at the very least 900p. I don't think they're going to keep it at 720. Now, they do have a patent, I think from last year, on AI upscaling for instance, running something at 540 and then when it's docked or hooked to a monitor, upscaling it to 1080. And then using DLSS for 4K, things like that. So they do have some workarounds there where I do think it might be less powerful. And I'm hopeful that they hold on to that same focus on battery life. I don't want to end up with a Switch that lasts 2 hours. All right, up next, let's talk about Embracer Group and the fact that they are reportedly looking to sell off Gearbox Entertainment. Gearbox is the team behind, or the publisher behind titles like Borderlands, Remnant, and Embracer Group is that hungry hippo out of Sweden that's just been gobbling up studios and IP for the last few years. After Embracer Group's $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia's Savvy Games Group fell through, Embracer seems to be like hemorrhaging money in studios. They shut down Volition, the team behind Saints Row, as well as many other studios. They have made some pretty far-reaching deals. Like they've got, Amazon Game Studios publishing Tomb Raider, but Embracer just seems like it has no plan. I personally think Embracer's plan was to buy up and just be this Swedish hungry hippo that grabs up all this IP, all these studios, and then was going to try to sell that in a chunk, right? Buy it all up small, sell it in bulk, either to a group like Savvy, or to someone looking for a ton of content. When you look at something like Game Pass coming up, the rise of PS Plus, Netflix doing games, obviously getting a big bite of content all at once would be pretty attractive to some of these companies. It doesn't seem like Embracer has the bank account or the stomach to wait that out and try to sell it down the road. It looks like they were kind of putting a lot of their eggs in the basket of the Saudi investment group. That ain't happening. So now they are looking at shutdowns and divestments. Gearbox, it would seem, might be getting divested, might be able to go back to being independent, might get sold off. I believe Embracer purchased Gearbox for $1.3 billion back in 21. Now, the question is, even with Remnant and Borderlands, is it worth more than that, or even around that? Is it worth $1 billion? It's a big ask. There is a movie for Borderlands coming, so if that does well at the box office, that might shoot the price up. I don't know. And then I don't even know if Remnant 2 is Gearbox owned or if the actual developers kept the IP rights. So I probably should have looked into this more before running my mouth about it. But yeah, keep it tuned here. Okay, thirdly, an update on the release of XDefiant from Mark Rubin, executive producer of the game over at Ubisoft. Now, here's the deal. They didn't pass compliance checks for either the PlayStation or Xbox platforms. Now, this has nothing to do with like bugs in a game. This is about the game actually being compliant with the platform system. So like things like trophy or achievement lists, friends lists, updates around how the game actually runs on the console and the actual experience of using the software, not necessarily like, oh, there's a glitch in the levels. That's very different things, right? So they didn't pass compliance, which is odd because Ubisoft is funding this. Maybe it's not odd. I'm sure people fail compliance all the time. What's odd is that they put up a post letting us know this was the reason for the delay. Hey, we didn't pass compliance on this. We'll be working on it. Kind of an interesting peek behind the curtain, if you will. So look, they're saying if we pass this second go round, they failed the first go round in August. They've been working on it on a fix since. If they pass this current one, it'll be about 2 weeks before they're able to put it in. They could also get a conditional pass where they would need to have a day one patch ready to make sure compliance happens. If that's the case, we're probably not going to see this game until late October. Pretty interesting. I was kind of hot on this game after the beta. I thought it was very fun. At first, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to compete with COD. This might. I really do think this game has a shot as far as being a like versus like team deathmatch style game. Obviously, it's not doing anything like what they're doing with the battle royale space with Warzone or Resurgence, but for just kind of that classic arena shooter, yeah, I think this has a chance of being something that gets in there and maybe builds a following. The gameplay really opened up and was quite fun, especially in that second weekend. So I'm excited for this when this drops. I'm hoping to get the squad on. It is free to play, so no reason we shouldn't jump in and check it out. You heard me, guys. We're playing XDefiant when it drops. We're doing it. I beg of you. Let's get something new in the mix. I beseech you. I beseech thee, squad. And now we've got the Xbox Wire announcing that Barclays and Microsoft have teamed up to give you an Xbox credit card. So it's a lot like the PlayStation credit card from, I think Visa is that one. Essentially, this is going to be a MasterCard. You buy stuff and you get some points on Xbox. So if you buy a lot of Xbox games, you want a dedicated credit card, this is for you. You'll get some free points. The APR looked terrible. Like, I think it was, hang on, where is it? Oh, they don't mention it on here, but I saw somewhere the APR is like 20% to like 35% or something outrageous. Either, you know what? This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial channel. Because it has Xbox on the front, everybody's reporting on it. So I just wanted to weigh in that, hey, credit cards have nothing to do with video games. you gotta figure that out for yourself. Yeah, it's a credit card. I honestly might cut this. Should I this is the dumbest. It's a credit card. It's like when you get a Disney credit card and it has Mickey Mouse on the front. This one's gonna have the little Xbox logo, and you'll get some points at Xbox. You decide if you can manage a credit card or not, or if this is something you even need. Yeah, what a slow news day, I guess. Talking about Xbox credit card. I don't care. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about what I've been playing, and it has been Starfield. I was very excited for this game. I was very hyped up for this game. I am a huge fan of Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Love that game very, very much. Very near and dear to me. Probably 400 hours in that game, easy. Never really got into Fallout. Played Fallout 3, not all the way. I don't vibe too much with the apocalypse and didn't really want to spend hundreds of hours in that type of world. With the exception of The Division, but I don't really think of that as an apocalyptic game. It's like rundown Tom Clancy. But the point is, that wasn't to my taste, and so I've been waiting for another Bethesda game that fit my aesthetic, a world I'd want to live in. And Starfield has arrived, and I got to tell you, I think that's what this is. The universe is fantastic. The gameplay is great. I totally disagree with everyone who thinks the game starts slow. Much like Skyrim, the game very quickly gives you some tools, like a space gun and a ship, and it tells you that way to the main quest, but you do you, and you can go do whatever you want. So if the game starts slow after the first, 45 minutes, that's kind of on you. Like, you decide how fast the game goes, or what you get into, or what interests you. So yeah, I felt like the game hooked me within that first hour. Obviously, you have to, you wake up in a mine, you get out of there pretty quick. But I mean, you're shooting, you're flying very quickly, and you're in control. And that's one thing I love about these games is it's not that they do any one particular system the best. It's that they have all these systems together, and they really are games about player expression and player exploration and just player choice and freedom in a lot of ways, with that sort of quirky Bethesda writing, kind of like sly, winky, like tongue-in-cheek. I've really been enjoying it. I've completed the Ryujin Industries faction quest line. I've done some of the main quest. I've done many kind of like one-off side missions and activities. I want to keep it vague. No spoilers, but I've gotten into some pretty interesting side quest chains where I think I'm just doing something random, or this is going to be a one-off activity. And a few hours later, I'm on the other side of the solar system, doing stuff I didn't think was coming with this. It's a wonderful game. The gunplay is, I think, very tight and very responsive for what it is. Is this Doom or Call of Duty? No. But again, like I said, it's not about being the best at one aspect. It's about giving you all these tools all at once. So the gunplay is pretty punchy and tight. I'm enjoying it. Mainly sticking with pistols for this playthrough, but I have kind of tried all the guns, like the scoped in ARs, these like punchy SMGs. I think they're still rifles, but the Grindle, like, it feels like a little punchy SMG. Shotguns are nice, pretty powerful. I like you have some of these old Earth weapons, like you got like an old Earth, like pump action, and like a Desert Eagle. It's pretty good. Ship combat is quite nice. I picked Long Hauler for my like starting character trait. So I already had some ship skills perked out, and I've been adding more to that. And the more I do, the deeper I go, the more I'm enjoying not only the ship customization, but the actual dogfights in space. The ability to upgrade and trick out the weaponry and the engines and really make the ship your own. The ability to add crew. I have a crew member currently that helps me spec into additional shield protection on the ship. A lot of fun with that. The ability to pinpoint and take out certain things, like stall a ship in space by taking out their engines so you can board them. Those kind of things are really fantastic. Exploration, I've been kind of mainly doing side quests and letting that sort of steer me around. Only maybe gone to one or two just random planets just to drop in and see. And it's true, a lot of these planets are barren. You might land, grab some resources, find some flora and fauna. But I've found so much already that's handcrafted. I don't feel like I'm walking through some like proc-gened world. It definitely has that Bethesda vibe to me, just on a grand scale. Now, the space travel is limited to orbit around planets, basically, and then you basically like jump into, you know, light speed, like hyperspace, to get to like your next destination. So there is that fast traveling method there. You can also fast travel all the way. You can like you can be planet side and just fast travel to another planet you've already been to. And I don't love that. I know it's there for convenience and players would hate it if you took it away. But I'm someone who who tried not to. I'm not going to say didn't, because we all break down. But I tried not to fast travel in Skyrim unless I was using the carriages between the towns and cities. I'm trying something similar here, where I'm actually taking off from each planet and then, you know, jumping from system to system and then landing, and trying to limit the fast travel just to get more of that space adventure vibe. I wish that was what you had to do, but I can see why they want to let people fast travel. You know, it's, again, like I said, it's all about, you know, player freedom and really trying to let people play with all the systems. So I get why it's there. Personally, I'm trying not to abuse it, and I'm having a lot of fun immersing myself into that, because I'm someone who role plays pretty heavily, and so I won't even see all the faction quests this first playthrough. I'm playing kind of a rapscallion, living a life of capers and crimes, so I'm not going to be joining any of these do-gooder organizations this first run through, but I'll pick that up on round 2 when I roll a new character. But yeah, I gotta say, if you like Bethesda style RPGs, try this game out. PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, or, you know, full price $70. It is worth it. If you like these kind of RPGs, or you just wanted a very quest-based, you know, adventure in space, this is really scratching an itch. It very much feels like Skyrim meets Mass Effect. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'll probably do a comprehensive standalone video on it once I've gotten through a few more faction quests and definitely completed the main story. Right now I'm about, I want to say 40 hours. I could easily see myself popping another 60 just on the first run. This is a phenomenal game. I haven't even got to like any of the crafting. I haven't built an outpost. I've just been doing quests and customizing my ship, and I am having a blast. Really enjoying the game. I recommend checking it out. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I should go.